Jurassic World Rebirth is the 7th movie in the franchise. I reviewed the first two trilogies over the last few months, so by now I really should be sick of dinosaurs. But even so, this was a really enjoyable movie. Certainly no classic, but the best the series has been in a long time. It's a back-to-basics approach with no returning characters. It does follow on from the Jurassic World trilogy in terms of the general state of the world, but anyone jumping in should be able to follow it no problems. Dinosaurs are no longer a novelty in this world, illustrated when a Brachiosaur causes a traffic jam, and everyone just complains. Oh, bloody dinosaurs again, why can't they go extinct? Scarlett Johansson is the lead, Zora Bennett, who's some sort of special forces operative turned mercenary, and she's convincing enough at playing this tough, cynical soldier who's just out for money, like a female Han Solo. Rupert Friends is the bad guy, who hires her to take him to an island full of weird mutant dinosaurs, as he somehow figured out that their DNA holds the cure for heart disease. So it's a bit of a MacGuffin, but it's as good as an excuse as any. Sarah recruits Dr. Henry Loomis to be the team's paleontologist. He's played by Jonathan Bailey, and the two of them have a good chemistry. It never quite developed into romance, but the potential is definitely there. He's like the moral centre of the movie, convincing her that there's more important things in life than money. And he also looks a lot like Daniel Jackson from Stargate. So if they ever reboot that franchise, he would be a good choice for that role. There's also Mahershala Ali as his ship's captain. He's still patiently waiting for Marvel to make that Blade movie that they promised years ago. And he's as dependable as ever. The first dinosaur they go after is the Mosasaur, one of my favourites from the Jurassic World trilogy. So it's good to see it get a bit more focus here. And it's even more terrifying on the big screen. It makes Jaws look like a tiddler. And it takes down several crew members who have been given just enough focus to make you think that they could be part of the crew the whole way. So it feels like any of the characters could be killed off at any point, which has not been the case for a long time in these films. Admittedly, by the end, most of the cast are still around. They really should have killed off one or two more of them, but it's still a better ratio than most. Once the Mosasaur trashes the boat, everyone is left stranded on the island. It's called Ile Saint-Hubert, or Isle St. Hubert in English, and it's a bit like Isla Sorna from the second and third movies, but somehow even worse. For most of the movie, the characters are split into two groups. One of them is a tourist family, whose boat the Mosasaur also trashed. These are the Delgados, who consist of a man, his two daughters, and his eldest daughter's stoner boyfriend, who is both the comic relief and the character you're most rooting for to get eaten by a dinosaur. They're not the most developed characters, but it is quite refreshing to see ordinary people trying to survive in this environment, rather than dinosaur experts, as in most of the movies. Really, they should all be eaten within seconds, but that would make the movie very short. Their adventures kind of feel like a Disney family adventure movie. The little girl even adopts a baby dinosaur as a pet, and calls it Dolores. I guess it's quite cute, but it does send a dangerous message out to the young kids watching, that it's okay to take wild animals home with you. And of course they've made a toy of it already, what a surprise. The family do get one of the best scenes in the movie, as Teresa, played by Luna Blaze from Manifest, has to sneak past a sleeping T-Rex to get hold of a raft. And as soon as she inflates it, it wakes up. So the entire family have to frantically escape downstream on this tiny yellow raft, being chased by a massive T-Rex. It's a really thrilling sequence, and apparently it comes straight out of the original Jurassic Park novel. Meanwhile, the professional team are still doing their job. There's a beautiful scene where they come across the huge titanosaurs with beautiful long tails. For once, there's no threat, just pure spectacle, and they even play the original theme music, which usually feels like a lazy callback, but in this case has earned it. Later, they all abseil down a huge cliff to reach a pterosaur nest. It feels like one of Bear Grylls' programmes, only with less drinking and viewing. Eventually, both groups come together at the abandoned lab, where we meet some of the most bizarre twisted dinosaurs we've yet seen in the series. This is where they shipped all the mutants to hideous for public viewing. There's the Mutodon, which are like raptors with wings that stalk the group through a little shop. They're basically just the same as raptors, really. And the biggest one of all is the Distortus Rex, which looks like what would happen if xenomorph from Aliens laid an egg in a T-Rex. Just an absolute nightmare with huge bulges all over its already huge body. But like in the previous movies, all these fake dinosaurs seem a bit unnecessary. The real ones are quite scary enough, if you ask me. It's not the most elaborate plot. The collecting of samples provides some structure, and there's some jeopardy in the scenes where the samples might break, and then they'll just have to collect some more. But it's basically just another round of escape the island before the dinosaurs kill you. Gareth Edwards does a fine job as director, making the island feel like it's full of predators, with numerous shots where the dinosaurs lurk in the background waiting to strike. It's definitely worth seeing on a big screen. David Cope returns as scriptwriter for the first time since the original Jurassic Park, and the characters do feel like they have a lot more depth than the ones in the previous Jurassic World movies, though that's not difficult. Overall, it's a solid action movie, full of great set pieces. It's certainly much better than the last few Jurassic World movies. I wouldn't say it's one of the best in the franchise, but you can certainly do a lot worse. At the time of recording, I don't know if this is a standalone movie or the start of a whole new trilogy. There don't seem to be any loose ends in the plot, and I'm not desperate to see these characters again. So if this is just a one-off, then that's fine by me. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see my review of Superman next week, or Fantastic Four later in the month, and I'll see you next time.